Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to another freezer meal, a fall freezer meal collab that I'm doing every Friday in the month of November. This is the second one. Last week we did desserts. I wanted to do that first so that people had those for Thanksgiving. I kind of mixed it up around. And then this week I'm going to do 3 breakfast ideas. Well, more than 3, but 3 categories of breakfast ideas. We're gonna do breakfast casseroles. We're gonna do breakfast burritos, and we're gonna do muffins. So I already recorded the breakfast burritos and breakfast casseroles, so you're gonna watch those in a second, and then today we're going to make muffins. So let me show you those first. Okay, so it is another breakfast freezer meal here. So I am starting my breakfast burritos, and I make these so many different ways. I mostly make these for Matt so he can grab them and take them to work. So I make them with vegetables. Sometimes I've done peppers and potatoes. Sometimes I've done hash browns. Those are delicious. Or tater tots even. You just take some tater tots, cook them like normal, or if you make some for dinner the night before, make extra and add them to your breakfast burrito. Those are delicious. But I am doing just a basic egg, sausage, and cheese to make my life easy. So I'm showing you how to do that. So I am actually going to crack 10 eggs because I purposely want 10 burritos because I store them in my silicone bag and 5 fit across, and there's 5 days in Matt's work week. So that is why I'm making 10 here. You can obviously very easily double this recipe. I've made it before where I've made like 30 at once. But we're making a bunch of breakfast stuff, so I have plenty of room. I need plenty of room in my freezer. So these are going in the compost. Okay, so my rule of thumb here is for every egg I do 2 shakes of salt, 1 shake of pepper. All right, 20 shakes of salt and 10 pepper. So these are essentially Matt's breakfast burritos. So I'm gonna go ahead and add some hot sauce right to the eggs. So this is definitely then, I'm not eating it. I don't like hot sauce in my eggs. Do not. Matt loads it up with Cholula. So I'm gonna do a lot. I think like 2 shakes, and I'll see what this looks like. We'll do that. So I don't add any dairy to my eggs at this point. I don't add milk or water. I used to. What I do now is add an absurd amount of butter to the pan. I like that method a lot better. So let me whisk all these up. I hate doing this. Usually I do my mixer, or if I'm making smoothies that day, I'll use the Vitamix, to be honest. But Paul's sleeping, so I'm trying to be quiet. So my tips that I like to do for the breakfast burritos, because I'm going to be putting this egg in a burrito shell and then reheating it, I don't cook these very much. Oh my God, I almost dumped them. Can you imagine? I cook them till they're like slimy. Like I would never eat scrambled eggs like that, but it helps roll the burritos. And like I said, you cook them again. So versus if you cook them really dry, sometimes it's hard to roll them because the egg pieces go flying. But what I'm also going to do is I cooked some breakfast sausage a couple days ago. I used it in something else. So I like to add the meat directly to my eggs versus putting eggs, meat, and cheese in the burrito. I think it just goes faster in my opinion. All right, so now I'm just waiting for my pan to heat up, and then we're gonna scramble these eggs real fast. So like I said before, I have no dairy in the eggs itself, so I'm gonna add a lot of butter to my pan. So for 10 eggs, I'm probably gonna add, it's probably 4 tablespoons. Quarter cup of butter. So I have this big pot out because this is actually what I used for dinner, and I'm cooking pasta sauce in the slow cooker, and I want to reduce it a little bit, so I needed a wider pot, and I'm like, I'm not gonna crazy wash 2 different pans, so that's why I'm using this big one. But normally I just use a large skillet. So once the butter is all melted, I'm gonna add my eggs, and like I said, we're just gonna barely scramble these. I do not know why my camera keeps going in and out of focus like that. So we're getting real close here. I'm gonna pull this in just a second. And as you can see, it's super runny. Okay, perfect, I'm gonna pull it. So I'm sure this is just called like a runny egg, but see, it's really wet I personally would never eat my scrambled eggs like this, but this makes it really easy to put in the burritos and roll. And like I said, my husband microwaves these. So if I was making these for like right now, I would cook it a little bit longer, but this soupy weirdness is actually really easy. So here is my setup. I love these. These are so easy to roll. So I'm using these, the Mission Super Soft, and this is the, does it say the size? It doesn't say the size, but it does. And I have just one left. I'm going to use that. I have some Mexican style cheese. This is not a part of it. And then, like I said, I'm making 10. I don't wrap them anything else. I put them rolled right into these gallon-sized freezer bags. And I need to get more of these, but I have this size and then one that's like cut here. It's a little bit smaller. So on like Sunday night, I'll take all of the frozen burritos, put them in these individual bags, and then put these in the fridge for my husband to grab. I'm trying to use less plastic the best that I can. So this is a method that seems to be working. And then as Matt is coming home, he brings these home and I wash them, and I'll grab a couple more. I might leave like 3 days worth of burritos in the fridge or something like that. So that's why I'm doing it this method. I used to wrap them in plastic wrap or foil, but I'm trying to get away from doing that and trying to use as much silicone as I can. So Paul's awake. Let me go grab him and then we'll roll these bad boys up. Okay, so that really didn't take much time, and I have 10 breakfast burritos ready for the freezer. Just little tips that you saw me do just for my own sanity. I lay out all the taco shells. I don't heat them because the brand I use, Mission, they're so soft anyway. I've never really had them tear, so that's not an issue. Plus the filling is hot and kind of warms them up, so I don't heat up my shells beforehand. And then I divvy up all the mixture. Hi, Mo. Because I tend to like underfill the first one, then crazy overfill the last one. So that just enables me to kind of fill them evenly. So that's why I do it that way. And then I roll them all up. They're in my silicone bags. Once these are frozen solid, they stand up super duper easy like that. I need to order some more bags because this freezer meals with the silicone is really working out for me. So another breakfast one done. Okay, so we are on yet again another breakfast freezer meal. I have like a bazillion things running this morning, so I apologize. It's a little bit later than I was hoping, and Paul is awake, so we shall see how this goes. I have everything out. There are so many different ways to make breakfast casseroles. That's what I'm making today. This is like my super duper easy one. I did another video where I already prepared my breakfast sausage. That's ready to go. I already have some grated cheese ready to go. I have some eggs. And you can make this with biscuits, you can make this with tater tots, and I like to use just cheap grocery store, I call this dessert bread. Bread that has like no fiber in it or anything. We don't usually eat this for sandwiches, at least I try not to. It's delicious, but it works really good in breakfast casseroles. So that's what we're gonna use it for today. I don't really have a recipe, I'll write this down below. What I do is I use these, I think these are 8x8 pans, this size right here, and I do 6 eggs. For this. I did forget my milk. I'll have to grab that. So 6 eggs for the size. If I was doing 9 by 13, I'd use a whole dozen. I don't really want to use more than a dozen and a half eggs, so I'm going to make 3. We have 4 instances of house guests till the holidays, I think, so I'll just do something else later on. But this will get us through having family over, and it's super duper easy. I like to go ahead and bake mine ahead of time. I don't care if it's completely baked through, because once I take it out of the freezer, I'm going to bake it again to heat it through. So I take it most of the way. I'm going to do 350 for probably about 30 minutes, all 3 of them. Take them out, let them cool completely, cover them in plastic and foil. So like I said, super easy. And then what I like to do, I don't like mixing eggs for some reason. You can absolutely use a bowl. I'm just going to put everything in the Vitamix. I already have it out. I used it this morning to make smoothies for me and Paul, and chocolate cupcakes for Paul's Halloween party tomorrow that he's going to. So I'm going to put all my eggs in the Vitamix. Just makes it a little bit easier, and then this goes so fast. All right, so let's stop talking and put this all together.
Follow me out down to the bay. Forget all the worries when you're with me. Let every wave gently kiss away some of the hardness from those brief.
So in case you were counting, that was actually 19 eggs, because some of these eggs were just so tiny. We get eggs from a local farmer, so they vary in size, which is fine by me. So I just added another extra large egg. And I also just wanted to mention that I am going to tear up the bread in a second and put it in a sprayed pan. And I have 2 heels of bread from making freezer sandwiches, which you'll see in the next video. So I'm just going to tear those up and put them in too.
Wilderness, we've come for you. We'll misbehave, stay up till late, share all our secrets as we let go. No more illusions, no more standing still. All of fusion will never cease to thrill. Wilderness.
Okay, so just a little bit left. Matt will happily eat this, I'm sure. He likes this kind of bread. So now I'm just going to take this sausage crumbles, put them all over the top, try to nestle them in between the bread. Then I'm going to top it with some cheese. Don't worry, I have more cheese. And then we're just going to divvy up the egg mixture over the top of the 3. And I don't know if I'm going to use all this sausage. That's a lot. There might be extra, but that's totally fine. We'll use it for like omelets or something. So let's get this all assembled.
In the wind we dance along. No urge of acting strong. Wilderness, we give you our mess. We're so blessed to have you.
Okay, so those are all done. I used up all of the ground sausage, so wonderful. Now I'm just going to take this egg mixture and slowly pour it over all 3. You want that bread to absorb, so sometimes it takes a couple seconds. And then I have them on some cookie sheets just to make it easier to put them in the oven. And I'm going to bake them at 350 for 30 minutes until they're cooked for 30 minutes. We're going to let them cool, cover them in plastic, put foil on them, freeze them, and they'll freeze for about 3 months. But these should not make it through the holiday season for me.
What's it like to be the one that he turns to when he's out of answers? What's it like to be the one that he comes to when he wants to dance? And I wonder what's that
Okay, here they are right out of the oven, all delicious, puffed and bubbly, and they're also really, really hot. So I am just going to leave them here, let them cool completely. I'm gonna keep folding laundry, and then as soon as they are done, I'll show you how I wrap them up and get them ready for the freezer. So these look absolutely delicious and smell amazing. It's really not hard to dig into them right now, but I'm going to resist. And I'm going to, like I said, wrap them in plastic and put foil on top and then just write what they are really quickly.
What's it like to hold his hand when he tells you that you're all he wants? And it's midnight, oh, I'm thinking about him. I have got him on my mind, but he doesn't know my name, and I'm running out of time. I wish you felt the same, and I'm acting stupid like every day.
So like I said, I just put really fancy bead casts on there. I know what they are. But these guys, what I will do is take this out 24 hours before I want to serve it. I will take the plastic wrap off, put some foil on it. Sometimes I spray the inside of the foil too, just so the cheese doesn't stick. Stick this in a 350 oven for about 20 minutes just to heat it through. Everything's pretty much cooked, and then you're ready to serve. So I have 3 of these for my freezer. Okay, so let's make some muffins. It's a little early, my voice is hoarse, and my hair is wet, so please excuse that. I just got out of the shower. But I wanted to run down here and make some muffins because we're gonna have those for breakfast. I'm going to make 3 different types of muffins, and I currently don't have any flour. I'm actually out of flour when I made the sugar cookie dough for last week's dessert recipe for the freezer cookie dough. I think it was either the chocolate chip or the sugar cookie used up my flour. I thought I had more, I do not. So I ordered some from Target. It's supposed to be here in a couple days. But we're gonna make 3 different types of muffins that don't need any flour, and they're not gluten-free. So I'm gonna show you those, and they're easy. So I pretty much think I've got everything set up. I got my mega muffin pan here. This is from Michael's, I believe, a while ago. I think it's Wilton. It does fit in my oven. I need to get my oven going in a second. I'm going to start off with just some muffin mixes. And you can absolutely freeze baked muffin mixes. They freeze wonderfully. It's just a silly thing. I know it's easy to make a muffin mix on your own, but it's just one less thing I have to do. You take muffins out of the freezer, they thaw out in like 20 minutes on the counter, or you can shove them in the oven, or you can shove them in the microwave really fast. I like to put mine in the oven on like 350 for like 5 minutes just to get them warm because I'm a butter person. But it's a great thing to have snuck away in the freezer, especially when you have guests coming over for breakfast ideas. If you don't want to cook every single day, which I was doing for the longest time, and now I'm kind of over it. So we kind of do like toasts and donuts and muffins when we have family over. But anyway, the first one I want to get to is this one by Kodiak Cakes. I've actually never tried this one. It is a chocolate chip protein packed muffin. I thought this would be good for Paul. And how many does this make? This only makes 12 muffins. So we're gonna do this one first, and that is just, I'm following the directions on the back. I'm making a standard muffin, and you don't have to use muffin liners, but I use them just because cleaning this pan is kind of a pain in the butt. So anything to minimize cleaning is what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna do these first. The next one is even easier. I've been seeing this floating around online, but honestly, I think this is from way back when I used to be on Weight Watchers and loved Weight Watchers. I swear this was a Weight Watcher recipe. So it's a box of spice cake mix and a can of pumpkin. That's it. That's all you need. I'm actually going to add a 3rd ingredient. I'm going to add mini chocolate chips because I like chocolate chips in my pumpkin muffins. But you just need these 2. That's it. It reminds me of, I haven't seen people do this anymore because I don't know if this is disgusting now that we know what's in soda. But there was another one from Weight Watchers that was a chocolate cake mix and a Diet Coke. Is that what it was? Or is it a Diet Dr. Pepper? It's really good. I'm not gonna say. That's all you need. It's just the diet soda and the chocolate cake mix. It's really good. Anyway, but we're making this today. So this is the next up. And this is probably going to make 24 muffins. So that's gonna be one we're doing. And then the other one caught my eye in the Betty Crocker email. I've talked about this before. I signed up for their newsletter. I think they email you food recipe ideas daily. And they had one for muffins. A bunch of muffins that looked really good. This one is their easy blueberry muffin, right up my alley, like easy. And it uses Bisquick. So this is just Bisquick, milk, sugar, egg, oil, and blueberries. That's it. And this one makes 12 muffins. If I could get myself together I should do these two at the same time. Do you think we can do it? Let's try. So that I can just get this in there for once. Do they have the same cooking time now? 400? They don't. All right, let me just do these first. We'll do these first. They're at 375. Let me get the oven going and get you set up and we'll make muffins. Okay, so I do realize that it is only November, but I have so many cupcake liners from when I used to do cupcakes all the time for work, and I don't work in an office anymore. I've been on this mission to use them up. So I'm gonna go ahead and use like Christmas ones, but these are going in the freezer, so some of them may make it to around Christmas when we have guests over, who knows. Okay, so for these, it said 375, so I just turned my oven on. And let's get this one going. I'm just following the directions on the back, except I said before we pick up farm fresh eggs, and I don't know if Matt grabbed the wrong kind or the hens were just, you know, not having it, but all of my eggs are like super tiny. I don't know if you can tell that. So I'm just gonna double whatever eggs, add one more egg to whatever the recipe says. I think this one says 1, so I'm gonna add 2. One of the recipes says 2 eggs, I'm just gonna add 3. You will also notice that I'm using my mega bowl. It's just because I used it last night. It was already washed in the colander, so I'm making my life easy. Alright, so there's our mix, and it just says to mix everything in one bowl, so we'll just plop everything in here. So 2 eggs, I'm gonna add 3. Then 1 cup of milk. I am using whole milk. So there's our milk, and then 1/3 of a cup of oil or butter. I'm going to use oil because it's easy. Okay, and then just mix this up. And that's it. And with any mixed breads, or what are these called? Quick breads, muffins, loaf pans, anything like that, you don't want to overmix it. I just mixed it till those eggs were combined, and on second thought as I was doing it, I should have just whisked the eggs in that measuring cup before. So they're broken up, but you don't want to overmix it or they'll get tough. Okay, so I'm going to carefully try to fill all these cups up, and I'm going to use my little scoop and try not to make a mess. Try. Okay, so to make my life easy, I'm gonna go ahead and clean this up a little bit before I put it in the oven, and I'm using Manu Grove unpaper towel. This came in the last box. I didn't see it. Matt was taking down the boxes and he's like, hey, you forgot something. I think this is my free gift. Oh my God, I'm loving these things. It's like a really thin sponge. I have to look up how you've cleaned it. I just started using it yesterday, but it's very nice. I clean my dishes with it. I think it goes in the washing machine. Okay, one more thing that I'm gonna do is this is a little bit higher than I usually fill my muffins. I probably should have just added like 2 more little muffin cups, but I didn't. I filled them. There's the 12. So this pan is non-stick, but I don't want, if they grow up, to stick to the sides. So I'm just gonna spray the whole top with a little bit of avocado spray, just lightly. So now I'm going to put this in the oven. And there's also different variations on here. You can do one with peanut butter, and you can also turn these into pancakes. So these just bake for 12 to 15 minutes. Okay, so when you're doing batch cooking, you kind of have to think logistically so that you're not doing this all day. That large pan, I just did 12 muffins. I did the chocolate chip ones because I want to have those for breakfast when Paul gets up any minute. The spice pumpkin ones are 24 muffins, so I'll want that pan back, but I don't want to wait for those muffins to bake, then cool, and then make those. The Bisquick ones make 12 muffins, so I'm going to move out the parchment. This is actually from the one I baked pies on yesterday. You can see we made 4 biscuits last night, but I'm going to use my silicone baking cups because they can just stand alone. And we're going to make the blueberry ones, by the way. I don't know if I said that. And then what I do, just because I have a lot going on these days, you can actually just use these, give them a little spray of oil, they're good to go, but I don't really want to wash them, so I'm going to put the liners right in here. I kind of just let them pop up. The weight of the dough actually pushes them down a little bit. I think for breakfast, I'm going to have a sampling of all 3 of these. I bet you Paul will join me. So that was just the pumpkin ones. I don't see any chocolate chips hanging out, so I'm not even gonna wash my bowl. So let's go ahead and make these easy blueberry muffins from Betty Crocker. Okay, so it just says stir all the ingredients except for the blueberries and then divide them amongst the cups. So I'm actually gonna put the eggs in here first and just give them a little whisk. So let's do, the recipe says 1 egg. My eggs are small, I'm adding 2. Just give those a little head start. 2/3 of a cup of milk. Again, I'm using whole milk. And I'm just gonna add it now, 1/3 cup of white sugar. 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. So I'm just gonna mix this just to give this kind of a head start. All right, now we're adding our Bisquick, 2 cups. By the way, these measuring cups are short-lived, so I minimalized about 6 months ago, and I had like 3 sets of measuring cups. I had never used these. They were put up high. I thought they were really cute. They're Pioneer Women. I got them at Walmart a while ago, and I've been using them, and I don't like them. They're really kind of just awkward to measure with, so I ordered some OXO metal ones. I'm going back to the metal. So I don't know if I'm gonna ask my sisters or my mom if they want these, or I'm gonna donate them to Goodwill. So these you will not see much longer. It's 1 cup, and here's our 2 cup. All right, so let's give that a mix. And if there's lumps, that's okay. Let me get rid of the whisk. Look how pretty these blueberries are. I don't know if that can pick that up. I got these from Misfit Produce this week. Oh, they're so good. Well, I take that back. I don't really like the big blueberries. I feel like they aren't as sweet. I personally like, I'm just gonna use all these. I personally like the smaller ones. I think they taste better. But these are just gorgeous, these huge blueberries. So it said 3/4 of a cup, but I was just using the rest of them. I personally would like to throw some cinnamon in here, but I'm gonna follow the recipe with the exception of the eggs. So I'm just folding them in with the spatula because I don't want to break up those blueberries. You can use frozen blueberries too, I've done that before. What I do is I don't thaw them. I keep them frozen, put them in here frozen because they're less likely to turn your batter blue. Not that that makes it taste bad. Let's see if I can do a better job filling these. Okay, I think I overfilled them just a smidge. I don't need that one. And what's nice about this one is I don't care if it gets dirty, it's just a piece of parchment, which is actually compostable. So this is all you do. Bake at 400 for 13 to 18 minutes. I am going to add, I like this on my muffins. This is sanding sugar. I got this at a craft store, I think in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, a long time ago. It's these pretty sugar crystals. I don't know if it picks that up or not. They make like this crunchy top. I'm just gonna put that on a few because if you freeze them, I find that this kind of just like dissolves into the muffin. It really only has a really good effect right after you take them out of the oven. It has this delicious crunchy top. So I'm just gonna do that to a couple. I'll keep a couple out for us and then the rest I'm just gonna put in the freezer. If these are really good, I actually might make them again because I have more blueberries. So I just put that on 3. You don't have to do that. You could also do, what have I done before? Cinnamon sugar is quite lovely. A streusel top is quite lovely. Our our chocolate chip muffins are almost done. They have 1 minute. I'm going to jack the heat up to 400 and try to get these in as soon as possible. You don't really want muffins to sit out too long because of the baking powder. It acts immediately once it gets wet, so you really want to get these in the oven ASAP. I'm going to take a little bit of a break, clean up, because I need my big pan to do the easiest one, the pumpkin spice ones. I'm actually looking forward to those the most. So let me pause here and we'll be back. Okay, so chocolate chip muffins are done. I put these out on the deck to cool. I don't know if anybody else does that. My grandma used to do that. So she had a screened-in deck and she used that to like hold all her desserts and stuff during the holidays. It's so funny. I do that now to cool things down. So I'm gonna take these out. They kind of remind me of anything with Kodiak cakes. They never really get a lot of color, but they are done. And they didn't spill over, which is nice. And I rinsed out my bowl. I need to grab that in a second. Paul is awake, but he seems to be content playing with something upstairs in his room. So I want to plow through these pumpkin muffins so that I am done. And they also, I looked up the recipe on allrecipe.com. It's 1 can of pumpkin. I'll obviously put this below too. 1 can of pumpkin, 1 cake mix. It makes 12 muffins, not 24. And it's $3.50 for 20 minutes. So we're gonna reuse this. So again, all I've got is cake mix and a can of pumpkin I need to open. Here's our mix. And let me just get all this pumpkin in here. I love around this time when recipes use an entire can. If I see a recipe that uses like half a can, I'm usually tempted to be like, I'm not making that. Or I figure out if I can double the recipe so I can utilize the entire can. I don't want half a can of this hanging out in my fridge. It's just gonna be thrown away, sadly. All right, and then like I said, not in the recipe, but I'm gonna add mini chips. 2 handfuls. I like mini chips in my pumpkin. I also really like pecans and pumpkin too. That's another really good one. And I do remember this takes a minute, and the batter is very, very thick. All right, very, very thick. Hopefully I will make less of a mess this time. Okay, let me scoop these out before he loses his patience. Okay, I guess I overfilled them again. I'm down 1. That's okay. 11 muffins, $3.50 for 20 minutes. So Paul is up. All the muffins are done. The chocolate chip pumpkin ones are right there. We just taste tested all of them. I think my favorite is actually the Kodiak cake ones. I don't know why. They have like a very subtle sweetness to them. The pumpkin muffins are a little on the desserty side, and the Easy Bisquick muffins taste like Bisquick. Not that that's bad, but wasn't one of my favorites. But I still like them. I'll probably make all 3 again. So I'm just letting them completely cool right now. Then I'm just gonna put them into some baggies, throw them in the freezer. We are gonna leave a few of them out because they're that good. Like I said, to reheat them, I usually just pull some out, put them on a plate, let them sit on the counter for about 15-20 minutes, and they usually defrost by then, and you can either eat them just like that. You can microwave them for like 10 seconds or throw them in a 350 oven for about 5-10 minutes just to get some heat on them, and they're delicious. So these are going to be a lifesaver in the next few weeks when we have family come over for breakfast. Okay, so this recipe just kind of came to me. I found some Canadian bacon, or it's like little ham slices in the freezer that I wanted to use up. I thought this would be really good with like a biscuit and a fried egg and some cheese. So that's what I'm making up here. I just put my biscuits in the oven, cooked those to the directions. Those were the frozen kind, but you can absolutely use the canned. And here I'm taking that Canadian bacon, just throwing it on my electric griddle here, just heating it up for a second, flipped it on the other side. You're not really cooking it, you're just kind of heating it through. Put that on a plate, and then I'm gonna cook 8 total fried eggs, and I wanna cook them till they're a little harder than I normally want, just so they're not oozing all over the place, if that makes sense. So that's what I'm doing here. Now that I have all my ingredients, I'm just taking out those biscuits and cutting them in half. I thought they were gonna be a little bit bigger, but that's okay, I made it work. So like I said, I just chose to make 8 sandwiches today. We had the rest of the biscuits for breakfast, in case you were wondering, keeping count. So I'm just gonna cover each bottom with a ham slice, and then I'm gonna put a fried egg. They pretty much for the most part fit. I just had to fold them, a couple of them a little bit. You can see one of my eggs was a little runny, but that's okay. Then I put on my cheese slices and just capped them all off. So to freeze these, I'm just putting them in these paper snack bags. I bought these a while ago, and I haven't really found a super great use for them because we don't eat a lot of sandwiches. I don't know why I bought them. So I'm wrapping them in these paper sacks here for Matt to take to work. And then I'm just gonna put all of those, I crammed them into a gallon freezer bag, stuck them in the freezer, and now they are ready to go for breakfast on the go. So that's it for my second fall freezer meal Friday. open collaboration to anybody. We did breakfast today, last week we did desserts, next week I'm going to do lunches. If you also did a freezer meal that you'd like added to my playlist, just leave me a comment below, let me know, and I'll go add it to the playlist. Thank you so much for participating. For anybody who participated, thank you so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it, subscribe if you haven't, and we'll see you next time. Bye.